Why don't we just roll it up this morning with our piece on fentanyl? And the fentanyl crisis is real, and it's everywhere, and it's absolutely out of control. We did some research last week, and the number one cause of death in America for ages 18 to 45 years of age in the period from January of 2020 to December of 2021 was fentanyl poisoning. 180,000 people die annually of fentanyl poisoning. Montana rolls in that same time period, 2,800. That's staggering. And it's affecting our daily life. I mean, it's affecting everything. Now, fentanyl is, for those of you that don't know what fentanyl is about 100 times stronger than morphine. Heroin's like 10 times stronger than morphine. So they're all in the same group. It's all in the same kind of family of sedative drugs that are used to kill pain. Fentanyl historically has been used to cut with heroin. They'll mix it with heroin. It increases the effects of heroin. You have to be really careful, and you make super heroin out of it. Today, it's all newfangled. They're putting fentanyl in everything. They're putting it in their coffee. They're putting it in cocaine. They're putting it in MDA. They're putting it, supposedly lacing it in pot. They're putting it in everything. And there's a huge problem with that because people are taking it and they're not knowing what's going on. They're not expecting it. Miami, Florida, spring break. There's the 8 kids, Andy, remember? The 8 kids down there in Florida. They bought a gram of cocaine. Now, we're all been young and stupid, and it seems like kids on spring break down in Miami have a preponderancy to do more stupid things. But these kids bought a gram of coke, split it 8 ways. It's cut with fentanyl. How many died, Andy? 3, 4? 4 died? 3. 3 died. The rest are were just in horrible condition. Them kids, however dumb they were being on spring break, did not deserve to be mickeyed with fentanyl, and 3 of them lose their life. There's the 2 models that are down in Los Angeles that had fentanyl mixed with their MMDA, or MDA, a party drug that they take at raves and parties, and there was fentanyl in it, and MDA had killed them, and they were just dumped off at a hospital dead. Cameras got them. Fentanyl has also been put in the pills, fake pills like Percocets and Percodan and Talwins and codeine and things like that, so they look like the real drug, Oxycontin and Vicodin. Tom Petty, historically bad back, bad hip, broken, dislocated. Pain was obvious. He wrote all about it. Prince was another one. Both of those artists unknowingly said, hey, I'm low on some pain pills. Can I get a couple? My hip hurts, my back hurts. Dad, we didn't deserve to lose Prince. We didn't deserve to lose Tom Petty either. The problems with fentanyl and the public's need and want for it can be traced right back to the late 90s when the big pharmaceutical companies pressured, let me get a quote here, pressures and reassures the medical community that patients would not become addicted, nor would doctors have to worry about over-prescribing. Boy, they missed that by. Or did they? Doctors were prescribing pain medication for everything from hangnails to athlete's foot. That along with the big push from big pharma, marketing to the doctors and the hospitals, to the pill mills, to the drive-through doctors. You could literally drive through, see a doctor, told him you need Oxycontins. He'd write you a script, drive through, get them filled, and then go home. Lack of oversight by the state, by the federal government, failed. A decade later, finally, companies like Purdue was sued by the federal government. They stepped in, they intervened, just like they did with cigarettes. Remember that? No more Joe Camel, no more Marlboro Man, the cool penguin. It's not cool. They did that. Government got involved, fined big pharma, shut everything down, and that's when, guess what? That's when the cartels take over, because that's what the cartels do. You got to remember, the cartels are no stranger to supplying what the American public wants, needs, desires. Think about it. Started in the 1960s, flying planes over, bringing in pot. Everybody wanted pot. Late 70s, all through the 80s, we all know the names. Cocaine was everywhere, everywhere. Government, who knew who did it? They knew it. They knew. You know. 2000s, meth, and now fentanyl. Players have always been the same. It's always been the same cartel. It's not like America doesn't know that we have cartels down there. Pablo Escobar, the Mandela cartel, George Young, heck, Donnie played him in the movie Blow. Yeah, Cocaine Cowboys, the movie documentary. The movie Blow I just mentioned. Movies and documentaries on trafficking. You got the Iran-Contra hearings. You got Narcos. How many people watch Narcos on, Andy, what's it on, Netflix? Hulu? Fubu? ESPN, maybe? Narcos. That's Pablo Escobar. That's the 80s. Y'all like, yeah, I go home and watch Narcos all the time. Those are the people that are flooding our country with fentanyl, and you're watching them on TV. That's how mainstream they are. Up to 3 years ago, fentanyl was shipped in to Mexico from super labs in China. Chinese authorities cracked down, said you can't do that anymore, so now that doesn't happen. No more shipping. Now Chinese nationals have moved to Mexico and have set up super labs that are under control of the cartels. Specifically, the Sinaloa cartel. Google Sinaloa cartel, you'll find out interesting things. Governments worked with them and against them, and they're still players in all this. And a new one called the Jalisco Nilva cartel. If I said that wrong, they'll come and get me. Tag my office door. These cartels have been here a while, like I said. They started in the 60s with pot. They've been here 60 years. They're set up in large cities. And now even they're up on the Indian reservations, in the rural areas. They're all over in public housing. They've infiltrated military, police jobs. They're on base housing, out in the farmlands. Cartels permeate every inch of society, every bit of it. Don't think you're immune. I thought. Now, I live in a smaller town. It's Great Falls, Montana. We got around 65,000 here. If you throw in the outlying areas, the military base, we got about 85,000 in this area. It's a beautiful town. Sits on the Missouri River. We have 5 falls, which the town is named for. It's a sleepy town. It's an all-American town in central Montana. Okay? Cartels are here. They are here like gangbusters. They are everywhere. They permeate every part of Great Falls. We see tagging. We see this. We see that. But you know what? Let me give you some stats about what's going on in my hometown. January 1st to April 7th, we've had 35 overdoses in this community. We've had 5 deaths due to fentanyl. We're just a sleepy little town. It's everywhere. Narcan has been used, and if you don't know what Narcan is, it's a drug that's used to counteract what's the effects of narcotics like morphine or heroin or fentanyl. It's been used 33 times. That's not including paramedics and or John Doe who has Narcan in his medicine cabinet, kind of a la Pulp Fiction. Right now in Great Falls, Montana, we have a problem with fake Oxycontins. Lots of people do pills, remember? Big Pharma started this. Cartels are just filling what the government took away. They're fake Oxycontins in town right now. They're light blue. They're M30s. They have an M on one side, a 30 on the other. They're pressed on opposite sides. They're called blues, 30s. Fetties, Andy? Fetties? I've never heard of them called Fetties. But it's an Oxycontin. It's a real common Oxycontin. If I were out of Oxycontins and I was still in pain, I might ask a friend if he had some. That's how it's happening. Now, we've got it out on Facebook. The police has got it on social media that this stuff is in town. Problem is, most addicts have sold their cell phones and pawned their tablets. Heck, they probably broke into your car and sold your tablet too. It's a problem, isn't it? Addicts also have a way of figuring out when there's poison on the streets. So the network probably is out there. But to say it's not in Great Falls or in Montana, just last week, our boys in blue and the guys in brown and the guys in black, and anyway, it was the Great Falls Police Department, the sheriff, the FBI, and the DEA. There's a problem area in Great Falls. It's been here. I know about it, and I don't even live in that area of town. It's over on 8th, 3rd. There's a bunch of row houses there. It's just terrible. They swooped in the early morning raid. And I love those early morning raids. You know, it's like, what, crack of dawn? These people are just getting to sleep. You know, it's like, warrant serving. Wake their ass up. Get them up. 7 arrests. They contacted 20 people. They made 7 arrests, 1 on outstanding warrants. One guy was in possession of methamphetamine. Way to go, you guys. When they did this raid, they found 12 people in one bedroom apartment. What the what? What were they doing in that apartment? We have it here. We have it everywhere. I don't know if I've told you enough yet or not on how dangerous this poison is. it kills everybody. Innocent people that don't have any... People that on spring break that are experimenting and doing a stupid thing don't deserve to die. Nobody does. Now, there's got to be solutions. Okay? And people, Andy, they asked him, Pipe, you got solutions? I do. Of course I do. Okay? So, let me talk about a couple things before I give you my solution. Okay? Let's talk about the war on drugs. I see more of that now. We need more wars on drugs. Drugs. Dun, 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 dun. War on drugs was started in 1968 with Richard Nixon. Re-interformed and reintroduced with Reagan Bush era and Nancy were just say no. I wish it was that easy. And finally, Bill Clinton's mandatory minimums. By the early 2000s, our prisons were full. They were so full that you, the taxpayer, was complaining that you were spending so much money. And don't be like, oh, we ought to just kill everybody. War on drugs has been an abject failure. A further war, reinforcing it, starting it over again, I don't think so. I don't think that's the solution. Okay? It didn't work. It's like the war on poverty, didn't it? 1950s, Andy, 50s, 60s, the government, we're gonna declare war on poverty. Yeah, that worked out really well. War on drugs, yeah, when the government, yeah. Okay, shutting down the border. I've had a ton of people. But should we shut down the border? Is that blah, 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 blah. Do I think that shutting down the border is going to help? I do. Do I think it's going to help a lot? Nah, I don't. Let me explain. The cartels have always used planes, trains, and automobiles. Even in the DEA and the CIA, in the Contra times, and the Venezuela scandal. Andy, 2 tons they brought over. That's another podcast. The border will help. Right now, the border's got all of our resources are at the border. If we could free up some of those resources and do what my plan is, then we would solve the problem. I don't think that the cartels are strapping tons of drugs to women and children that they would normally be sex trafficking to smuggle in drugs. It's just my opinion. And Narcos and all of those shows tell me that that's not what they're doing. Okay, it's just not. It's not how the cartels have ever worked. So they're like, well, you don't want to do this. What do you want to do? I want to declare war on the cartels. There's no way in hell that we don't know who they are or where they're at. In the 60s and 70s, the cartels had just acres and miles of pot farms everywhere. You could see them from space. Pablo Escobar's cocaine could be seen from space. His fields, the cocoa fields. If we could see their crap from space, why can't we just go? Okay? Couple reasons we just can't go and do my plan. Because my plan is declare war on the cartels, roll in there with fire planes, whatever we got to do, take them out, be done with it. First of all, the cartels have a lot of money, and a lot of that money goes to the Mexican government, which keeps us from going down there. And second of all, some of that money that's going to the Mexican government also goes to various officials in the United States that makes sure it keeps happening. Remember, follow the money. If you think the cartels have existed for over 60 years because they're lucky and we don't know how to find them, got another thing coming. They know. We know. I talked to a couple people in the community over this podcast. I talked to a city commissioner, Rick Tyron. Rick told me that it is so right on the money. The problem is everywhere, just like I've been saying. But we don't live everywhere. We live here in Great Falls, Montana, with the 85,000 people and the fake pills. I think that what we need to do as a community, we need to find these people that are addicted and do the same thing I said when I did the homeless show. Homeless segment, Andy, when I said we need to set an example for other people. If this is a national-wide problem, then we need to do something that will people national-wide. You know, Rick is right. We live here, and we need to do something. And Great Falls is amazing. I've seen people offer to put people in treatment. To pay for people's treatment. I talked to a source that I have up at the Great Falls Police Department and at the Cascade County Sheriff's Department. And both of them said the same thing. We cannot arrest our way out of this. The drug war, you just can't arrest everybody. You can't. When I talked to the sheriffs, he told me, he said, you know, Mike, what we need is we need more treatment. We need people to get off of this stuff. And the guy at the police department almost synchronizedly said, and it needs to be affordable. It's a problem. It's not going to go away. We can't arrest ourselves out of it. Okay? A war on the poor is what the drug war is. It's when the government chooses which intoxicants are okay and which intoxicants are not okay. Fentanyl is a killer. Don't get me wrong. I have a problem with the war on drugs. It's been an abject failure, and it just has. So, we can't legislate ourselves out of this. We can't argue ourselves. We have addicts in our community that are being, drug habits are supplied by the very cartels that are on the television shows you watch every night. Get involved. It's kind of like everybody wearing Nikes when they know that they're made in sweatshops in China. But it's okay. Andy, wind up time, Andy says. So we're going to wind her up, I think. We covered the fentanyl kind of good. I hope that you understand how it started, where we're going with it, how I think we can stop it. Over the weekend, the Russians completely destroyed, and I know I talk about the Ukraine. It upsets me. Carpet bombed. It's when they bomb every square inch. This was in retaliation for the Ukrainians sinking the Moskva. That was their, flagship of the Black Sea. They had nukes on that. Everybody said they had nukes on it except our own government. Our own government's like, nah, it's cool. Our own government's telling us everything's cool. I'm surprised every weekend that I come to work on the morning show and Monday morning to do your show, and that we're still here and that we haven't been nuked over the weekend. Andy, I've expressed that. I've changed my office pool several times. In that strike on Mariupol, it killed 21,000 people. Over half were civilians. We're in week 6 of war crimes. That's the only way to put it. Russia-Ukraine conflict has claimed the lives of 21 journalists. Free speech. RIP, you guys. R.I.P. We will keep up. That's maybe why I mention it every week, because these guys shouldn't die in vain. Also on Easter Sunday, The Who. Not the rock band. Are they even relevant anymore? Andy, what have they done recently? We're still listening to Won't Get Fooled Again on CSI. The World Health Organization came out and declared over this Easter weekend, just yesterday, over 6 million global deaths due to COVID. That was good news yesterday. And in closing, we lost one. This one's a little closer to home. Let me see if we got some things here. We lost Gilbert Godfrey. I'm trying to find the diagnosis, but I'm not having luck. It was I do not see anything with Gilbert. So, Gilbert died last Tuesday, be a week ago tomorrow. He had something that was a fluid in his throat and in his heart. And I just got to say that, we're going to miss him around here. He was friends with us. I will miss his loud, abrasive, annoying, squeaky, whiny, intelligent, funny voice. We're going to miss you, Gilbert. Andy, that it? Sorry, I was trying to find I don't think you got me hooked up for the internet. All right, everybody, that's it. I hope you enjoyed the show. We'll be back next Monday. Remember, kiss your dogs, duck and cover. We will see you.